How's the new apartment so far? We love the apartment, but moving in's been a bitch and a half. Let's talk about the internet. So the realtor tells us that the building is set up for Spectrum, right? That's what it is. Laporte took this to mean that the apartment was set up for Spectrum internet currently. He told me as such. I planned my move-in and my day and my yesterday to say, okay, we're going to move into the apartment, move all my computer stuff, and be able to set up the internet and have it ready for my classes that I teach for work 5 to 9 yesterday. So we move in. We move in with the movers all day. Movers are great. They did everything very quickly and very cordially. And so I started looking for the coaxial cable to plug the router, which we have in the box, into the wall. I can't find it. I call our super. Super mainly speaks Spanish. He tells me to call electricity. I call electricity. They have no options in our in the auto call thing. It's not relevant. It's not cable. I call the building manager. The building manager who just sounds like he hates his job every time you pick up the phone. He says that we have the cable running through the hallways. I'm like, what the hell? I look out. There's no coaxials there. Why would there be? So I'm like, ugh. I call the super again. I'm like, hey, I cannot find the coaxial cable in the apartment. He says, call electricity. I'm like, no. I called them. They couldn't help me because this is an apartment thing. And he goes, yeah, and hangs up. I go downstairs to the apartment below me. Because their apartment's set up the same way. I knock on their door. Very nice family. I was like, hey, I'm trying to look for the coaxial cable. They were like, oh, we didn't have one. We had to call Spectrum and have them set it up. I'm like, what? Really? And the guy there was like, yeah. I was like, what? So then I realized that our super is trying to tell me to call cable, not call electricity. So I call cable. They're like, oh, is this Michael Laporte? Of course it's not Michael Laporte. I'm not a liar. I tell them no, but his thing is on the account. So they say, okay, we could get a guy to set it up, but if the person who's on the account calls. So I have Laporte on his plane ride to Florida. He's in Florida right now. What a fuckhead. He sets me up on the account, so I'm able to call, get them in. It's during my class time this man calls, 5 to 6. So I'm hot-spotting Wi-Fi from my phone. I can't turn it off of Do Not Disturb because the cable that's USB tethering right now is very shoddy. So I have to leave it on Do Not Disturb. Our buzzer is not like a traditional buzzer that you can hear. It's through someone's cell phone. It's set up to my roommate Allie's phone. So whenever someone buzzes into the building downstairs, it goes to Allie's phone and Allie can let it in from the phone, which is very convenient, except that Allie is currently on the subway on her 45-minute transit home from work. Spectrum sends me a text saying, hey, your technician's coming, and you can track their location with our GPS tracker. I hit the link for the GPS tracker. We're sorry, the GPS tracker is not working. I start my class on Do Not Disturb. I keep frantically checking back to see. I take off the Do Not Disturb for all of 2 seconds, and I see that I missed a call from 7 minutes ago. I check the GPS tracker. The GPS tracker is now suddenly working and telling me that the man is waiting outside my building. I put these poor kids on hold to run downstairs because there's no button up here to let in the door. I run downstairs, let the man in, usher him in. I let him do his thing. I guess I sit down with the kids. 5 minutes later, the guy comes around and he's like, yeah, so you have a cable. It's not live, so we got to set up a new appointment for a new guy to come and set up that cable. So I'm like, oh, great. Let the kids go on hold for a second so I can give the guy my number. The guy leaves. I sit with the kids for another 5 minutes, and then I have to put them on hold again so that I can answer a call from Spectrum, which just confirms the appointment tomorrow at 8 to 9, because it couldn't be any later than that, because from 10 to 1, someone needs to be at the old apartment to pick up the fucking piano we have to move. Allie is there now, I'm assuming. 8 to 9. I wake up today. Don't have a bed frame because Allie left the screwdrivers at home. Wake up today, 7:30. Guy comes in at 8. He sets up the thing. He sets up the router. He's like, this router isn't working. He has to go get a new one. He calls tech support. There's a special tech support for the tech support people. He calls it twice, and they put him on hold for 5 minutes each time because it's too busy. The router's moving, and he's like, hold on, what's that box over there? I'm like, oh, we got 2 routers for some reason. And he's like, oh, that's the one that works. Why didn't you tell me? I'm like, I don't know. So I set it up. It finally works. It's named Baby Shark Lovers, and the password is Big Wet Fart 69. And now I'm here. This apartment's very hot. I'm going to turn on this fan. I hope you can't hear it. So it's great so far. We still don't have shower curtains or garbage or bed frames or anything. Here's the kicker. I feel especially bad for Allie because, like, you can hear that? All right, then I'll turn it down at least. But yeah, so if you move Make sure you call your internet and set it up first. Make sure you save all your screws that you use to unhook your bed frame. Make sure you bring all your tools when you want to set up your bed frame. Make sure that when you have all your screws for your bed frame, like Allie does, don't put them in your roommate Laporte's coat pocket right before he leaves for Florida. Allie cannot build her bed frame because the screws that are necessary are in Florida. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.